Hello, hello. How is everyone this evening? It's Tuesday around 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and we are going live for day 5, part 2 of Fall Days Fright Nights in Cookie Snack Attack. Hey, Kelly Miller, how are you? Let me see if I can straighten this up just a little bit. Hold on, I feel like I'm pretty far up in that camera. How's that? A little better, guys? How are you? How are you? Everybody coming on, please say hello over in the comments. Maybe tell us where you're from. Hey, Becky, I know that you were in class this morning, but I sure did miss you and Barbie this morning. Hey, Deborah. Hi, Debbie. How's everybody doing? Vicky, hello. I see a Facebook user, but I don't know who that is. It just says Facebook user. Let me show you what it looks like. You're in between Vicky and Barbie here. How are y'all doing? Hey, Kathy. So let me just ask, for those of you that are in the comments and live right now that we're at CookieCon, hey, Lori, do you feel like you've recovered yet? I hate to put it that way, but as much fun as it was quite exhausting. Hey, Janie. So do you feel like you've rested enough yet? I feel like after I get through everything I have to do tomorrow and take maybe 2 more 20-minute naps just randomly throughout the day, I will be in good shape. I definitely don't feel recovered right at this moment, but I am super excited to do this cookie. So let's jump right in. Hey, Alyssa, how are you? Hey, Barbara. Hey, Becky. Well, hey, Sandy, there's a lot of you on here that were at CookieCon, and I just wanted to say again, thank you so much for all of the hospitality and kindness that you showed me. It was so fantastic. Literally, I haven't had Chick-fil-A and I don't know how long since we've been in this pandemic. I really can't remember. And Elisa was so nice. Her husband got her Chick-fil-A in Texas and she brought me a tea, a real honest to God Southern sweet tea from Chick-fil-A. And it was like a little slice of heaven. Like, I don't even know what made you think to do that, but it was the sweetest thing. And thank you for the beautiful trades and gift bags, just the appreciation gifts that you all brought me. I had a beautiful Cookie Snack Attack travel mug that Barbie and Becky made for me. It was gorgeous. I carried it around the entire time. I loved it. Elisa got me these. I'm going to forget somebody, so don't get mad, okay? Because I'm just thinking about the things that are on the top of the big pile right now. And there, Elisa brought me these awesome, she's from Maryland, and brought me these awesome crab cookie cutters because blue crabs are a big thing in Maryland. So it got me thinking, guys. I think what I would like to do, because in actuality, there were over 32 cookie snack attackers in Dallas. Only 15 people signed up for actual swag bags, but I knew some of you would not. So I made extra, which I'm not going to be able to do next time because I won't have anybody on the ground in Reno that I can ship to ahead of time. But I know there were 32 of you there because as we met and I checked names and stuff, if you were in the group and I still had extra bags, I made sure you got a swag bag. So anyway, I have an idea for us. When we go to Reno in March, I think that we should do an exchange, like at Christmas, how you do cookie exchange and everybody comes, there's however many people at the party and you bring that many of your cookies and then everybody swaps. So when you leave with the same amount of cookies, but you have a different flavor from all the people that are present. I think we should set a cookie snack attack meeting, a seriously sweet cookie snack attack meeting where we bring something that is specific to, representative of, or made in our state, whatever state we're from, and we exchange that with just our group members, like just that item, just our group members. So if you're from Texas and you want to bring, I don't know what I did with it, but I had a suggestion for you. It was, I'll tell you what it is later. Because Maggie, if you're on here, Maggie gave me some treats that were from Texas, from Buc-ee's, and they were fantastic. I'm not sure what I would bring from Virginia. specifically, I don't know if it would be a food item or if I'll bring something that represents our state. But like for Elisa, it was fantastic that she brought those crab cookie cutters. Like right off the bat, I was like, oh yeah. And we should set a dollar limit in case you want to make like little gift bags that we'll get a sign up sheet going. So we have plenty of time to plan it, but it should be, we'll set a limit, like it can't be valued at more than $3 a piece or $5, whatever you guys decide. But that way, everything that we're swapping is like gift exchange. But I think we should do it like, it seemed to me I had the most time meeting up with everybody that first night. So we'll see, make sure everybody's going to like be there on Tuesday. And if not, then we'll set it, now that I know what the schedule is like a little bit more, as soon as we have the schedule, we'll pick our own time and have a party. And I don't know where we're going to have it. I don't really think it matters. I frankly enjoyed just being able to meet with everybody in the big group settings. But if you are planning on going to Reno in March to attend CookieCon, which is the 10th anniversary CookieCon, if you are planning on going, I think that you should go ahead and be thinking about what you could bring as a swap for just the cookie group. Make it something special for just your Seriously Sweet cookie snack attackers that would represent your state. And we'll do a swap like that. I think that would be so much fun. I was just so overwhelmed by all of the wonderful appreciation gifts you brought me too. That you guys just literally made my heart soar. Hello, Vicky. Hi, Jen. How are you? So Jen, you're coming, right? I'm going to put you on the spot. Jen is from Emily Mays. She is one of my Canadian connection friends. And we talked as soon as I got back. And hopefully she's going to be there. I can't wait. So guys, tonight we have our last cookie. Can you believe we finished another complete series? And not only another complete series, but this series, we did the cookie cutters as a fall day and then Fright night. So we've really done 3 if you think about it. Good. I'm so excited. So excited. So glad so many of you are on here. I'm seeing Allison's comment that we're in Virginia, so Smithfield ham flavored. I guess you could bring some kind of Smithfield ham thing, Allison. I don't mean flavored cookies, though. It doesn't have to be that. Like if you want to do like, what's our state flour? We're Dogwood. If you wanted to make a Dogwood cookie cutter or a cookie to exchange that has a dogwood on it, something like that. Oh yeah, Jennifer, Marion berries are delicious. Delicious. I love them. So apple butter is very popular in Virginia. If you could find the small jars, Allison's rolling now. I'm like, you're going to be bringing ham on the plane? That might be a problem. So anyway, guys, let's jump in on our project for tonight. If you did not get a chance to watch this morning, definitely go back and watch this morning, okay? But do you guys like that idea, the people that are planning on going? Like Jen could bring a maple leaf cookie cutter or something like that from Canada, or maple candies. If Nadine is going to get to go, she could bring something specific to Vancouver Island, but you get the gist of it. So we swap something from where we're from and help it stick in everybody's brains a little bit more about where we're from, because you get so overwhelmed when you're there. There's so many things going on that it was really nice to put names and faces and voices together, right? We haven't really been able to do that since the pandemic started, but to put the face together with an actual voice and then put it together with their name, it kind of made it stick. But I think this, since some of us have met, I think it would be really fabulous to help it stick where everybody's from, right? So then you can help with humidity or different things that sell in different areas, right? Like obviously snow cookies are not going to be super popular to our Floridian friends that join us every week, right? So just things that'll just make things pop a little bit more in your mind. I don't know how your mind works, but mine kind of is like all these little rooms and everything gets categorized. And so the more things I attach to a person or things I know about that person, it really helps out. So earlier today, we looked at our cookie and I sketched it and we talked about, if someone will mark the time, we're at 10 minutes for the tutorial starting. Hey, Jen, you get a pass. If you don't remember names, it's perfectly fine. And there was lots of people in my house as a kid. I answer to, hey, you, pink shoes, lady, help me, whatever. So it doesn't matter. So earlier we talked about different ways that you could do this cookie and what you should have prepared if you were going to decorate with me tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and show this to you, okay? Earlier, I had the very thick icing. I had a sketched area on my cookie, which I filled with that icing. And then remember this time I told you I was going to do my texture a little bit different. I was going to scrunch up a bunch of small pieces of parchment so that I could really get some dimension on my cookie. And then I just ran this through the dehydrator. So the look of this, guys, is going to come out like slate rock. I'm going to try to watch it and watch the camera to make sure nothing goes out of focus. Because, you know, when you start fooling around with these small pieces, sometimes things go out. So I really like this, doing it this way, because what it allowed me to do was get a lot more dimension down into the icing when I was doing this texture, right? If this had been one connected sheet, it would have, it's like trying to cover a paint palette with a piece of press and seal. You have to start on one side and lock it down in as you come across. Otherwise, if it's on the top, when you start pushing down, you don't have enough volume in the paper or enough room to push it down in there. Do you know what I'm saying? So I thought these small pieces might give us a lot more dimension and depth in our rock surfaces. And it worked perfect. Look, I don't know if you can really tell yet. Let me get a few more of these off here, but I love this. Something I wanted to score for you guys to do a product reveal on, but they ended up not coming, was a new product of already textured parchment sheets from a company called Intricate Edibles. They do wafer paper, but they started, I guess, with the wafer paper cutouts that you can color yourself, and you know, they're already in shapes instead of punching them out yourself. And it's a little bit thicker wafer paper than what we all use. So they've had that for a while, but then I guess they just started doing this textured parchment, and I really wanted to try it. Not so much for surfaces like this, because for this, you really got to be able to look at it and then decide where you want more depth and how far you want to push it in and things like that. But they had one that I saw that was a brick pattern. And since you can really only do that with a textured mat on glaze icing, or do the texture on fondant and add that to a cookie, I was going to get some of those to try and royal and see what they did. So if anybody's on here that's connected with that company, if you want to send me any of those, I would love to demo them. I was going to buy them while I was there, but they did not come. So now I'm just using a brush and brushing off these pieces. And you see where a little bit of it wasn't totally dry. So when it peeled off, it left a more porous surface than this kind of slick areas. But look how great that looks. Can you see that? I actually like that, because that's what it would look like here. Oh, hold on, guys. What is that little? I have a spider. Isn't that perfect for Halloween cookies? Except this is supposed to be fall. So he better not come back. I left the door open today to get lots of air in my cookie room, and I guess I allowed a visitor in. He's a little spooky looking, so this table will be coming apart tonight because that just freaked me out. So anyway, I like it like that, and it's going to take the painting that I'm going to do really well. So also, if you really were going to do a bunch of these, let them dry overnight so that you don't run into any issues with, you know, whole pieces snapping off like that. So let me set this to the side, okay? I couldn't find a paper towel quick enough to hit that little guy with. I'm sorry, but I would not have rescued him. So I'm just saying, if you're going to get mad at me, you can get mad at me about that, because I definitely would have put him out of his life. I don't want little baby spiders in here. Okay, so remember I told you I was going to use some of the extra icing, and I was going to make add-on rocks, little boulders. So that's what I did here. And all of this has dried since we were live at 1 o'clock. Spray them with diamond dust. That might work. That might work, Jen. I might try that if he comes back out. I should get the alcohol out and hit him with some Everclear. That's terrible. Oh, okay. Now I see him again. So I just need to get him. Let's get him now, if I can squish him. Nope. He's come back to me. This is like, Amy killed a spider live. You should have seen it. She was so brave. Because normally I'd be screaming for my husband, but he's outside doing stuff to get ready for the cookie snack attack building to be delivered. So I'm just going to move a few things. If you guys will just bear with me for a second, because this guy is really creepy looking. He could literally be on one of our cookies. He's so creepy looking. I'm going to move a few things so when he wanders out again, I am prepared. And things might go flying. If my camera falls or something weird happens, I promise you I'll come back on. Oh, woo, there he went. I don't know if I got him though. He was flying. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so don't worry. If anything wild happens tonight, just hang with me. So I made the extra boulders. I'm going to set them on my cookie and move this stuff out of the way. You guys, I left my cookie room in such a disaster because I couldn't even get all my competition cookies done because I was wrapping stuff up for the store and wrapping stuff up for our Halloween class. And I mean, there was just stuff going on. I just couldn't get everything done. It was crazy. So it took me, I don't know, it took me a half a day, 3/4 of a day to just get my cookie room straight where, look, I already messed up the camera trying to trace down that spider. Well, I wish he'd come back because, or maybe not. Maybe I got him. Anyway, so let's go back to our cookie. So here's my boulders. We're going to attach them with some edible glue. You can attach them with some icing if you want to. I think I'm going to try to put mine on with just some edible glue though, because I should be doing it with gray icing, but I used it all up earlier. So let's look at these. This is going to be a waterfall and it's going to be a sculpted tree. So do you guys have a preference? To me, they both look really good. I did 2 of them just so you could see. Do you have a preference on which one? I'm kind of thinking I want to go with this one because this is a little lower profile by the time I add those boulders. Y'all all right if I do this one? I think that's what we're going to do, okay? Let me do that unless somebody's just really not liking that one. Kathy, I will have pictures up soon, but it rained here all day, and I really need to take them out back by the water because I have a little photography area there, and it rained all day, so I didn't have great lighting today. Listen, y'all, you want to see something crazy? If that spider gets in my hair, I'm definitely just shutting the screen on my computer, and I will be running and screaming shrilly through the house because they creep me out. And I guess I'm not going to be able to leave my door open in this beautiful fall weather because he got through the screen. You know how doors don't seal at the bottom, and I kind of thought maybe. But I hadn't seen any in a long time, and we've been getting the outside of the house sprayed every month, so I thought I was great, but maybe not. So we'll just take it easy for a little bit. All right, we're going to go with this cookie. Let me see. Hold on one sec. I'm going to grab something from over here. Do I have anything over here? I think the computer's vibrating and we probably woke that little thing up. Do I have anything here I can use though? No. So we're going to go with the, maybe he'll get on the cookie and it'll be like the most viewed video ever because I can tell everyone it's a fake spider, even though y'all now know it's real. So I'm going to attach these with some edible glue. I think I'm just going to do that so we can move on and I will report back if it works well or not. I'm going to keep one of them out though, because when we do our, oh, you know what? I don't want to do that yet. Hold on. I'm going to try to put a smaller one there. I don't want to fill that in completely because I also want to dry dust this and I don't want that glue all over everything. So let me hold off on attaching these until we get to the end. Okay. That spider really threw me for a loop. Who else has joined us? Anybody else joined us? At least I didn't throw the cookie, so we can still work tonight. By the way, how many of you were like completely freaked out that there was no Facebook last Tuesday? Like when that whole thing went down, system crash, whatever it was. I don't know. There's a lot of conspiracy theories. Hi, Cindy. Floating around about it's because they were testifying on Capitol Hill. I don't have any idea. I don't I don't participate in all of that. I just try to use the social media for good and keep moving. However, it was really like it threw me into a tizzy last Tuesday. Was it Monday when I was trying to shoot on Monday because we were leaving Tuesday? And by the way, we left a week ago to go to Cookie-A-Con, a week ago today. Isn't that crazy? Because it feels like, I don't know, maybe I was just so tired, but it felt much longer than the amount of time we were there, I guess because we crammed so much in. Best experience ever, literally Disneyland for cookiers. Had the best time. Okay, guys. Now let's think about this. I have to come back together again so that I don't mess my cookie up. Okay, so earlier we talked about the fact that you could go ahead and flat flood the river, the waterfall in white, and you could paint it. So I decided to approach my water two ways. Two ways. I'm going to attach a very lightly colored fondant with a little bit of ribbon dark blue fondant in it down the waterfall. I'm going to do a little bit of sculpting with my Dresden tool so you can see how that's done. And then if I think it needs a little bit more, then I'm going to use my Everclear and paints, and I'm going to do a little bit of painting on my water if I want to. So we're just going to see how that goes. I'm going to pull some gloves out and hope the spider is not in the glove box. You know, we've been in this house a little over 2 years now, and I have not had to deal with anything except what they call, in Virginia, they call them stink bugs. You know, like in Florida, they're love bugs. There's a season of love bugs, and you got to scrape them off the doors all the time. Well, here we have a season of these horrible looking. They look like they have knight armor on them, like shields. Their backs are shaped like shields, and they're called stink bugs. So if you get one of them in, you're bound to find at least a half a dozen more, and then that attracts other things. That's all I'm going to say. So, but we've, in the last 2 years, kind of gotten that under control too. So with this, let's go ahead and start with our water first. So I just mixed in some gel coloring. I did some light blue and some dark blue. You see? Just very contrasting blues. Sorry, I have blue gloves on. Let me set it there so you can see it more clearly. I'm mainly going to put the light blue fondant in here because if I want to paint and like put any streaks or whirls or anything like that for something to make it look like it's coming down the waterfall, then I want to make sure that, what do I want to make sure? I want to make sure that I have a light color that I'm painting on, okay? So I'm going to put a little bit of water over in my paint palette, and I have just a little paintbrush. It doesn't really matter what kind of tip. Obviously, better not to be a detail brush, but I'm just going to use this Wilton brush, and I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit, probably, oh, Jesus, he's back. And I got him. Well, now I just made him mad. Sorry. This is a hot mess in here. I feel like I should turn this video off and kill that thing, or he's going to freak me out because he keeps sneaking up on me. Anyway, so let's put some edible glue on here. It's because it's my Halloween cookies. So let's put a little bit on here. Truthfully, my fondant is very damp, so I probably don't need to do this. But for those of you who aren't familiar with working with fondant, if you just wet, very barely wet the surface of where you're going to attach fondant, as long as it's soft fondant, you're going to be able to attach it really well. All right, so he's just probably going to pop back out on me again. At least he's staying on this one side. He likes something that's over here. What do spiders eat anyway? Do they like sugar? I'll put him a bowl of sugar out for the night. I'm going to find him, though, and he's going to have to relocate because he doesn't pay rent. All right, so I've got some really soft light blue. Peppermint is something. Okay. Oh, I might do that, Jen. All right, let me get the dark blue. As long as he doesn't get on my person while we're shooting this live. He is a gutsy spider because that's like the 4th time he's shown himself. That time, though, I think I caught him. So I'm just putting my 2 colors together, and I'm going to ribbon it just because I want some streaks in it, because I may end up, I don't want to totally blend it. I'm not trying to make another shade. You see what I'm getting by doing that? How I get, like, you know, how the water is. All right, so now what I'm going to do is just roll that lightly. Again, I'm not wanting to blend it. I just want the motion in the fondant. And I'm going to start up here at the top of my cookie. And I can use a Dresden tool. Whew, like one of these ends on a Dresden tool. Can you guys see that? Or maybe this, right? And I'm just going to work this in. Obviously, up at the top, I need it to be as close to the cookie as possible at the top of the waterfall. And then you want it to get bigger and splashier as you go down the waterfall. So I'm just using the tool to bring this along the rock bed. But you see how much nice motion I'm getting from this, from my waterfall here, because of the way that I did the, that I added the ribbons of color by blending it, making bands in it. And now I'm also getting motion in it. Pull this down a little bit more. I'm going to have to do 2 balls because I don't want to make it too thin. But you can see what I'm able to do here. So back to the other question. I didn't get to photograph my cookies before I left, so I will be photographing them, but I couldn't do it today because it was rainy and overcast all day, so there was not good light. Let's get this going on here. All right, I like that. So let's just do just a little bit more. Woo, there he is. We may lose some leaves, but I really want to kill him. And he just keeps running up under my little stand here. Oh, sorry, guys. That was a little too close. I literally feel like I'm breaking into a sweat here because I'm afraid he's going to come get me. But he is dying before bedtime tonight. So let's make a little bit more ribbon. I think I want to make this a little lighter, though, so that I do have some more good colors to paint. But this is actually pretty close to what it looks like at the waterfalls up on Skyline where I live. So this is pretty good, I think. I'll put a little extra here. I'm sorry, Nana. I didn't mean to scare you. My little puppy doesn't like any kind of, doesn't like flies, bees, nothing flying around her. And so anytime she sees me grab something to squish something, she goes to the other room. But she really wants to hang out with me tonight. So she's trying hard not to leave me. She's trying to be brave. All right. So then we want this water to pool at the bottom. So watch this. We want it to pool, you know how it does at an actual waterfall. So starting at the background, working to the foreground, I'm just making some splashes. Can you guys see that? Where it's kind of spilling over the water like it's catching up in a little dammed area. And I'm switching from this size ball tip to this size, just a little bit smaller, and kind of giving that some turbulence right there. Can you see it? I'm going to lift it up in just a second, but let me make sure it's firmly attached to the cookie and that none of the areas look too pretty. We don't want it to look too pretty. All right, now let's come up in here with the Dresden tool. And let's kind of, you know what, we need a little bit more. I don't know what I just did with, oh. That spider. Dude, you and me, we are going to have some massive problems. I need you to walk over here so I can put you out of your misery. I need you to just come right over here to me. This thing is so creepy looking. And if these things jump, please don't tell me, because that's not something I need to know right now. So don't be funny and tell me that he can like jump on me from way over there because he's a little spider. I don't know. It's black and he's small, and so it doesn't matter what kind he is. He must leave. I'm not catching him to put him outside. So anyway, let's get a little more. I'm sorry for those of you who really love spiders. I'm truly sorry, but this dude's gonna die. Brian, I have a spider over here that is like he's coming after me.
We'll kill him.
I'm trying, but he keeps ducking under stuff every time I go after him. See, that's my husband. He's like, just kill him. And I want Brian to kill him. I want Mr. Cupcake to kill him. So for those of you who love them, I'm so sorry, but he can't stay in my house. I'll have to get another house. He's over there under that bottle. I'm just trying to keep him over there till the live stream's over, and then I'll take everything off and find him. He's under. Brian, y'all see what he does to me? Oh my goodness. All right, so I'm just giving my water a little bit of turbulence. And you guys, you know what I think I'm going to do? I think what I'm, Brian, he's over there. Please don't. Oh my God. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Guys, just hold on for a minute here. Kill him. I can't. The dogs are there. I mean, I don't want that thing on me. Oh my God. Okay, sorry, y'all. Sorry, just hold on a minute. Did you get him? Please, God, get him now. Get out of there. Oh, God. Thank you. I knew the spider killer would get him.
I got him, y'all. Technical difficulties here.
Okay, thank you. No. Oh, God. Turn the air conditioner on. I've broken into a full-on sweat here. Sorry, you guys. Sorry for the screaming. And Brian,
Yeah.
Don't walk any further. Hold on, guys. I'm coming. We knocked something over. I got to get it up off the floor. Get paper towels from in there, and you have to get that. You have to get that because
Okay.
I'll roll. I need paper towels. What are you doing? Lord, it's like a comedy hour in here tonight. I'm sorry, you guys. So sorry. Whew. I'll be right back with you. Just give me a second. This is what happens when you leave your cookie studio for 5 days.
This is what happens when you do live.
Oh, Lord. I'm so sorry. Just hold on a second, okay? You guys are probably laughing your butts off, but this is totally not funny because that just took some years off my life.
Everybody can afford to laugh their butt off. Get some spray.
Yeah. Can you do that so I can keep going? All right. I think I'll be right back with you. And at least the spider's gone. We can concentrate now. I have to calm down now. That was really rough. Okay, good. They can see you, so.
Huh?
Oh, guys, I'll be right back. Sorry. Okay, thank you very much. Whew.
Okey-dokey.
Oh, maybe. How'd you like the screaming? I should be in a horror flick, huh? I could be the chick that screams like there's nobody's business. So sorry about this. I know I'm going to be so freaked out until I spray underneath this table now. All right, let me come down.
Be a horror flick.
Debbie said I haven't laughed that hard in a long time. Love that little scream.
Would that be a horror flick chick or a horror chick flick?
I don't know. I don't know.
Horror flick chick or chick flick.
Wait, I was chilling watching TV. Let me put this comment up here from April. This is so funny. I was chilling watching TV and looked up to a spider crawling on my hand, white but with different color streaks. Oh my gosh. It went across the room. Brian for the win. That's right. Thank you. That thing has been terrorizing me for 20 minutes.
Who's got the white butt with the streaks?
The spider that crawled on her. Hello, aloha from Hawaii. Thank you. You guys, I'm so sorry. It's so unprofessional. But maybe this is better than whatever TV show you guys would be watching. We can call this comedy hour of decorating.
This is live reality.
Woo. All right, let me get some gloves on. Here, come here, Mr. Cupcake. You can say hello to everyone. Yes, they can see you. Come say hi.
Oh.
You can be the spider killer.
Oh. Hey, I don't see nothing.
Yeah, they're right there. They can see you. See? Say hi.
Oh,
hello.
We got the little round hole there.
Yeah, I'm keeping that small so they can see the cookie. All right, so we're going to go back. Thank you.
As y'all can tell, I wasn't the one doing the screaming. Y'all knew that wasn't my voice.
That was me. Totally me. I own it. That thing was creeping me out. Listen, if he hadn't been here, I'd have probably just fumed the whole room and run. Oh my goodness, so funny. All right. Whew. All right. No, that really wasn't fun. It was really creepy. Now, let's come down to it. I'm going to lift the cookie. Let's pretend we were professional for the last 10 minutes. So let's lift the cookie. This is what I created with 2 different size balls on the water coming down the waterfall. And then if I still feel like this isn't enough when it's done, I can do some dry dusting. But you see how we kept it going this direction, and then we had a drop, and then this direction, and then we had a drop. And then if you really want to, you could use some white poppy paint. Poppy paint is so funny. Hey, Debbie, are you still on here? Debbie Broussard, did you, not Debbie Broussard, sorry. Debbie Simmel, who you were saying that you had a spider. And then I should have asked if Cindy Broussard is on here. Could she hear Brian talking? Because his Southern was coming out a little bit. My friend Cindy. Okay, so poppy, and of course I keep picking up all the glazes and not the colors. I don't know what I do with my colors, but you know what the brand of poppy paint is, right? Like this. This is the brand. So they have one that's white and it's very opaque, which means you can't see through it. Translucent means you can see through it. Opaque is you can't. So you could come back and paint white foam on the tips at each of the places where the waterfall is actually supposed to be hitting a rock, right? All right. So the other thing we can do now is, what did I do with that earlier? Oh, I know what I'm going to do. I got it. I'm with you now. I know what I did. Ooh, that was a pretty big little spider. I don't usually have things like that around here, so that was a little creepy, but it's okay. He's gone. All right, so let's attach our rocks. Now you would just use a little bit of royal icing and add your extra boulders for your boulders to stick out just for the purposes of the video tonight, because I have to mix up some more icing and we are running behind because of the spider visit. I'm going to go ahead and attach mine just with fondant. Don't do this in real life. This is another don't do what I'm doing, okay? Oh, Carol, you didn't go back and get any? They had a great selection there. It wasn't poppy paints that was actually there. It was a, you know, like a retail store type thing was set up there that sells them. But do you see how I'm layering this? I'm going to turn it so you can see it. You would do this with the same color royal icing that you made your stones with is what you would do this with. I'm going to put one up here too, I think. Nah, I'll put it right here so it looks like it's over the top to get a little more dimension. So you would attach it with that. It would dry. But you see how we got dimension coming off the cookie? But we don't want to see that. Like where you can see that white, that's where I just put a fondant ball behind it to get the layer, right? We don't want to see that. That's why we would do it with the same color royal. Oh my God, that was totally freaky. Okay, let's put this back in. I'm just doing that so you guys can see it, but I'm going to be going back tomorrow and attaching that with royal. All right, so another thing you can do if you want to, I mixed up just a little bit of pumpkin colored because I'm going to put a pumpkin on this because this is my fall cookie and that'll bring out the color of the wafer paper leaves I made earlier. I really like working with poppy paints too. And I also very much, I like some of the colors that I got for a class I'm going to be taking soon. Hey, Charlotte, how are you? So this is just a little bit of the purple. And this is a mold. I don't even remember where it came from. I think it was in a subscription box. So I mixed up a little bit of pumpkin colored, and I have this from last year. Any pumpkin mold will do. You know, it doesn't have to be this specific one. But I wanted to see about letting this set up to dry while we were working in case I wanted to add it underneath the tree. And we're going to do our tree next and add our leaves, and then we're going to do some dry dusting. So see how cute that is? If you don't want to pipe all that, this is one of those little details, hey, Debbie, that you could do way ahead of time. Is Cindy Broussard here too? I wanted to tell you we're making that gumbo at the end of this week. Cindy will be a person that you definitely want to get to know because if she's able to go to Reno, and I think she's planning on it, she is from Louisiana. It was jambalaya, actually. She's from Louisiana, so she could bring you all some fabulous things to trade from because you know the food is just awesome there. All right, hold on. So I put it back in there to get a few more lines on it. I'm going to let it set here and dry. While I'm doing that, though, because I do want a little bit of diamond dust on this cookie because I feel like I've been slacking on my diamond dust usage. While that's still tacky from being warm and going in the mold, I'm going to give my pumpkin a little shimmer with, it's clogged. I'm going to give it a little shimmer with orange diamond dust. I'll show you what it looks like. It's really pretty. This is the orange diamond dust in a pump bottle from the sugar art. You see that? 100% edible food coloring made in USA. It's FDA approved. The mica is what makes it so sparkly. So I'm going to leave that over here to dry. If you want to get really creative later, I pulled these out. These are some things I think that I put on the first mold for you guys. I have several different sizes of owls. So I thought this little owl over here would be real cute to just put up in the tree right here, or to have him sitting at the waterfall. If you have another little bird or something, you could certainly do that. But we're working with textures and layers of textures tonight, okay? And we're going to sculpt that cool tree like what we did at CookieCon. So if you are on tonight, and Janie, it might be from April's box, because I don't usually buy these orange molds. If it's not from April's box, then I made it. So I sort of suspect it's from last year's subscription box, the Cookie Life box. That's where I think it's from, but I'm not positive. So I don't want a bunch of people contacting her and it's not her thing. He'd eat it, not adorn it. All right, so let's pull about half. And I'm going to show you colors too right now. Oh, I meant to do that first, but that spider, boy, he had me rocking and rolling there for a minute. Babe, thank you for killing that. Appreciate it. So I made two very different colors of brown so that I can ribbon my tree so that my tree looks more realistic. I think when you're doing sculpting with fondant or modeling chocolate, yes, you can start with one solid color and then do painting, but you can also do the painting on top of something that you've done where you've ribboned it. So it gives you even more. So I think when you're working on a small canvas like this, that's just something to consider. So I used Cookie Countess Totally Brown for my really dark brown color. Okay, that's what this one is. It's totally brown. Brown is a really hard color to get dark. And then I used chocolate brown and did a light shade of chocolate brown, which it really does look like chocolate. This is a great color for Valentine's Day from the Sunny Side Up Bakery, the Hobby Lobby brand. That's what I used to do this one. Okay, so I have two very different shades. Now what I'm going to do is just roll this in my hand for a second. Everybody still with me? Say hello over in the comments. Make my comment scroll move again so that I know you didn't leave me when the drama started. I definitely don't like that kind of drama. Anybody still there? I can't tell if all my peeps are here or not. Hey, April, Sandy, Becky. Okay, good. So you guys are still hanging with me. That was like something else. And I'm really sorry for screaming directly into the really good microphone that I bought. That was not a great use of that product. Hey, Cheryl, Deborah. And I think Michelle was on here for a little bit earlier. One of my local peeps. Michelle, are you still on here with me? Or did you like get driven off by the drama? Hey, Sally. So did you see how I put those together and I made them where they weren't touching? I made just 4 quadrants, put it together like how they make that pulled taffy or hard candy to get the streaks. And now I'm not blending, okay? I'm just stretching because I want to get like a ribbon look to create my vertical lines in my tree. So do you see how I'm doing that? You see how I can get really, how pretty that is? Okay, so let's do a little bit at the ends though, so that that doesn't look like it's too big, just to make sure that's okay. Okay, then we're going to put it back together one last time. And when you roll in your hand, the palm of your hand, if you kind of arc your hand, you get a bigger well. And then it gets tighter here, right? So if you put your hands together to roll something, you can make it skinnier with your fingers here and still leave a larger area here at the bottom. So that's what we're going to do right now. We want a little more fondant at the bottom. And the way to get that without totally blending this is to let this bottom part, can you see that? Okay, so I'm going to pinch off just a little bit at the top to use to make the branches. I don't need much. I'm just going to leave it right here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit more of that water I had for the purposes of demo only, because this is so sticky. I could put it right on the cookie and it's not going to come off. But I'm just using a little needlepoint bottle that I have full of water. And I'm just going to put a little water so I can attach my tree trunk and just make sure this doesn't move for the purposes of our demo. And I'm going to start with this ball just a little bit above the bottom. Not a lot, just a little bit. And then the rest of it, I'm going to be forming it right where I want the tree to go, the trunk of the tree. Okay. So I just pinched a little off. Excuse me. I'm going to turn this sideways so you can see. Do you see how it's kind of like a teardrop shape? A great big teardrop. That's what you really want to work with. So now you're going to have to follow along closely because I have to move kind of fast so it doesn't crust over. Although on the tree, it really won't hurt us if it crusts over. I just really don't want it to. So I'm going to take my thumb and I'm going to scoop into the fondant and kind of pull it to a point on the cookie to make a foot on this tree. Okay. And I need enough fondant down here that I can split this and pull roots off the tree. So I'm just going to get it real craggly looking, but can you see what I'm doing? I created a foot. So we're just going to let that sit for a minute. We're going to come back up here and we're going to work with our tree trunk and we're just going to shape that a little bit. I have already done all the dyeing. So at this point, I'm going to just work with my hands so that it won't mess up the fondant so you guys can see a little better because those gloves tend to make my camera refocus and refocus. So what I'm going to do right here is just kind of pull this down to where I'm sure it's attached to the cookie. And yes, it looks a little wonky when I do this. Okay. You can see what it's doing to the fondant when I attach it, right? It just looks smeary. So then you go back with your Dresden tool, which I think I threw that when the spider attacked me. Wonder if my homeowner's insurance would cover an attack of the spider. Seriously, I think I threw that. Well, I think that's what I was working with when the spider show went on. So we're going to have to, I don't know, it's probably across the studio. So let's work with this one. This is not the normal one I would work with, but it will work just as well. Hey, Nadine. So I'm just going to clean up these edges by kind of pushing them up a little bit. Do you see what I'm doing? Just getting them up a little bit so it doesn't look like I've flattened them. I needed it to be very firmly attached to the cookie because obviously we don't want this to come off over time. But I don't want that flat look on the edge. So I'm just going to like scoop this back up. All right, I'm coming down here. I want to make sure this is nice and rounded, but you can see from my tree trunk how much great shape I'm getting just because I have the ribbons in my fondant where I did the ribbons by blending the colors there. I have another little one. Let me see. I might have one of the mini tools still here from the last kit. And then you're getting oh yeah, I do. I can use this. This will work the same way. And you're getting a full set of these mini tools or you got them in your Halloween kit. So you can use this for this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add even more dimension by just starting to work down in straight. Well, I'm going to work down in that it's vertical, but I'm going to whip it back and forth to make a little more texture. Can you see that little motion I'm doing? Let's see if we can get a little higher for you. So you see what I just created on top of the fact that I have motion in the fondant because I blended the colors. So now it's just making it look like actual tree bark. Okay. And I can do the same thing from here. Work it back up. I'm going to work a little bit of this foot in because I want it to look real scraggly looking. Okay, if you want to make a spooky Halloween cookie, then this is where you would go in and you would plan for 3 holes, make 2 eyes and a mouth, and then you'd fill that with Turkish black. But I just want 1 hole because a big tree like this is bound to have 1 hole that an owl lives in or a squirrel family lives in. So I just want 1, okay? And then maybe I'll come down here and make a couple little knots or something that I can do with the Turkish black, just some cuts in it that I know I'll have more dimension later. But you got to work fast at this point, guys, because what you don't want to have happen is for it to start getting dry and crackly. Okay. So now let's come down here. We're going to take our scissors. If you have let's use our thingamajiggy. So I'm going to come in at an angle along in here and an angle here. And what I'm going to do is pull this fondant up and over my rocks. Like I have a root. You know how the old trees have the roots above the ground? So I'm just going to work with that. I'm going to pull this one this way, just getting a little bit more dimension to the tree. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my knuckles up against this. Oh, Barbie, you saw my tree? So what I did was I actually created a 4-part cookie for my Texas entry to be like a diorama. So you had to lean down and look at it to get the full view. But the fourth part I did not take with me because I was very concerned that it would break, and I just ran out of time to pack it well. So, I'm going to photograph my cookie just like I did it for CookieCon, and then I'm going to add the fourth layer, which lights up, and let you see that too. Okay. So you can see it because it has a live oak tree in it. And that tree has a lot of really great techniques for people that like to sculpt. I think you'll enjoy that. So can you see that I'm just grabbing these tree roots? And now that I have the fondant where I want it, I'm just kind of pulling it in a direction to make sure it's attached to both the rocks and the cookie. And I'm going to lift this up so you can see. And if you have the time and patience, this is one of those cookies that you could actually make it stand up by making a flat-footed cookie and then adding this to the front and back. So let me show you where we're at so far with the tree. So you can see the roots along the bottom. You see? All right, so let's take a little bit of that fondant we pinched off earlier. Now, one thing I'm going to do before we go any further, just because I think it'll make the tree look better, we are doing a fall tree, okay? So my leaves that I made them out of wafer paper. I airbrushed it. I'm going to show you a few tricks to get some motion on your leaves too, so they look like actual leaves off the tree. So I did red and yellow, and then I overlaid red and yellow to make a little bit of orangey color, so I'd have some dimension or color, different colors on these maple leaves. So that's the leaves we're going to be doing in just a few minutes. So what I'm going to do, because this is not spring or summer and I don't need that green background, what I'm going to do is just pull up a little bit of, I think I want to use a little, I'm just going to grab any red powder dust that I have. This one happens to be from a different company. I'm going to try this out shortly. But what I'm going to do, just so I have a little more color on the cookies, I'm going to grab a little bit of the red, right? I'm going to knock it off on my towel because I don't want it to be too much. And I'm just going to knock down the brightness of this cookie in the back, okay, by putting a little petal dust in the background. Now, I personally don't mind that you can tell it's a cookie, but somebody might not like that. So this is how you would deal with that. You could have airbrushed it before we started, but this is another technique that you can quickly knock down the brightness behind where your leaves are going to be. So it almost has like another look back there. So on my Texas cookie, it's actually the sky behind my tree because, you know, they have those big live oak trees. I don't think they're called pin oaks. They're just called live oaks. It's kind of, I think it's one of their most popular state trees or whatever. But they have a lot of cut throughs because they have those branches that come down and go way out and then go down and dip back up. So that's the kind of tree I created. So I'm just giving that a little blush behind it to knock down the color before I add my branches. Okay. So let's talk about that now. Let's take just a little bit of water, which is going to affect that blush. So you're going to have to rinse this brush before you use it for something else. But I'm going to put just a little bit of edible glue down where I sketched on this earlier. And then I'm going to try to keep my, cookie, and I'm just rolling in the palm of my hand. You see, so it's a little fatter in this part because I have that dip in my hand. The fatter part is going to go towards the tree. And I'm just going to get it on top of the edible glue. That's really all I need to do right now. I'm not sculpting it yet. I'm just getting it attached to the glue, okay? And you can see I'm rolling it to a longer distance, pinching it because I don't want my limb to go over the tree. I just want these little pieces to attach. So let me grab a little more water and get a little bit of glue over here. Or water, sorry, because the water's acting like a glue for my fondant. I don't know what I just said, but that's what I meant. I'm still discombobulated thinking the spider's mate is going to come for me. All right, so I'm just covering up the lines where I sketched earlier. By the way, if I was really making these cookies, I wouldn't have sketched on them in case I got into it and decided, ooh, I want a bigger branch or I want less branches or more branches. I would have just left it. Now, these branches aren't staying like this, though, and you notice I'm rolling it. I'm not worried about blending it. It's because you're going to have so many leaves on it, people are not going to see it. So it doesn't matter. You can make these as shapely as you want to. So now let's come back with our Dresden tool. We're going to start with the one that we put down first, just in case you're in an area that has a lot of airflow potentially, right? We don't want your, pull some of that off. We don't want your fondant drying out. And actually, the way I like to do this is to anchor and curve it, right? And then when you pull it in a little bit, because you've done those cuts, it makes it look twisted. That's how you get that twisted look. So let me show you that again. I'll try to keep my hand out of the frame. Okay, so I'm going to, let me lift it up. Let me see if I can do that for you. So I'm going to anchor it and then go to the right. Can you see what I mean? Like, let me see if you can see it. See how that is? Like it's at an angle. So I'm going to anchor. You can do this with the smaller boo-boo stick too, and it works just as well, maybe even a little better. So I'm cutting at an angle, but it almost looks like I just made a piece of rope. And then I'm going to pull it in and push it up because I want my branch, whew, that thing got me, to look realistic. So then I'm going to pinch it to the tree just a little bit. Do you see what I'm doing? And then if the branch looks too thick, because obviously the taller up on the tree, they should look thinner. If it looks too thick, then I just want to work with it and pull it out a little bit. Can you see? But you see how realistic it looks? Now, also, you guys, you want to keep moving pretty fast because we want to tuck our leaves into this. And I'm going to blend this into the tree so it looks more seamless. We want to get the leaves on. We're not worried about dry dusting those areas, so we want to... You all right, Luce? We want to get the leaves on while the fondant is still wet because we're going to use just the tiniest bit of edible glue and then tuck the tails. Can you see the difference in what I put down over here and then what it ends up looking like with just that little bit of effort? So pretty, right? You can use this for winter trees, spring trees, Halloween trees. You all right? Got a lot of activity in this house tonight. It's good. I got my littlest pup sitting here. So I know what she wants is popcorn, but it's not popcorn time yet. Popcorn's after the video. She's wanting popcorn. All right, can you see that? I'm trying to hold it so you can see it. But you see how fun it is to shape these pieces? All right, so I'm dragging this into it. Drag this into it so it looks more seamless. Okay. I'm using my boo-boo stick, anchoring and cutting all in the same direction, cutting my little rope areas. I want it to look like rope. By the way, this is how you do rope on nautical signs too, if you like this technique. This is not the only way to do these things. It's just the way that I do them. Okay? So you don't ever feel like you have to do it the way I showed you unless you just really like it and find it easier. For me, these are faster techniques to get that look. All right, can you guys see that okay? Now I want to shape this one a little because it's just a little too wide. All right, so I have it nicely blended into the tree. Let's let it focus for a second. I've got a background brushed on here, which I like. It's just going to give it a little color in the back, okay? You want popcorn after the video too, April? Well, if you live closer, girl, you definitely could have some at my house. I did not realize, really, you guys, like I see some people around and I get to see my local cookiers pretty regular, but I, for real, did not realize how much I missed human contact. Does that sound silly? But I did. It was so crazy. So crazy. All right, so let's do a little how much I missed it. Like I was like, oh, this is fun. But I am also positive, you guys, that I am headed down the right path because when I got to teach in the demo room, when I got to teach on Saturday, that was just killer. I loved it. I absolutely adored it. Okay, let's pull our leaves back in. Let's talk about dimension on our leaves before we get too far down the pike here. And then we want to dust this before we attach the leaves, okay? So in your Halloween box, you have a softer set of fondant mats. You have two, and they're softer than what they sell in the United States for, see how they're very, very soft foam? This is what I prefer to use with the wafer paper because it gives way a little better. So I can make a more cupped leaf. So do you see on these, I just used the ball tool from the end of this, and I did some of them with the majority of the color down, so they're twisted this way. And then I did some with the color up and went that way. So I have leaves of all different directions. If you want to take the time to do that, that would be beautiful. So here they are flat. I'm going to show you how to just do a few. In that kit that you got for Halloween, there's a thin piece and a thicker piece. So I'm going to just do a couple really quickly. And I also told people at CookieCon, if you're really OCD about this, make sure you allow enough time to do your airbrushing where you can spray both sides of your paper. I frankly don't think you need it. I don't think you need to spray both sides because the leaves have so much flow that and so much color on them that it looks like they're colored underneath anyway. But I'm literally just placing this in the center and I'm just barely rocking it. And do you see what it did to my leaf? Can you see how much I got from just that little bit of pressure? So it looks like a dried up autumn leaf. So we'll do a couple upright. I'm going to do one down. You see nothing. I just barely pushed. But in these softer foam mats, it works great. So this one I'm going to do on the back side. I also prefer when I'm doing leaves to spray the side of the leaf that has the texture, and because I know I want that extra texture, because that's why we're doing all this, right? That's why we're not just royal icing it and moving on. We want a little extra. So now I've got my tweezers and I've got some really fine point tweezers. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dip the end of this into the tiniest bit of edible glue. I don't want too much because I don't want the color to bleed. And then I'm going to use the pointy part of the tweezers and I'm going to push it into the branch. A little bit of glue. I can leave it on top, but for the purposes of what we're doing, and because I bent the leaves, oops, pulled that right off because I unpopped the tweezers. I want to actually tuck it in a little bit so that because that makes it pop up off the tree. Do you see what I mean? See that, how it comes up? All right, so let me place a few of these. I don't think it'll take me very long. Oh, I feel very behind though. I'm really not, but I feel very behind because of the spider escapade. That was something else. All right, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dip the tail. You probably don't even need to dip the tail if you moved fast enough. I just think I don't want to take any chances since I had that little delay earlier. Now, the other thing you can do too, because you're doing your fall cookie, look how pretty that looks already with just those couple of leaves. Now, a lot of you, by the way, remember back when I released these cutters, you were like, oh my gosh, the cutters are big. They are big, but they're big because I wanted to teach you how to use the punches. And so I had to work backwards and scale everything for you guys from the punches for the cookies. So literally, right, this was the first cookie when I was designing it. I had to work backwards from the size of my leaves to the design on a piece of paper, knowing what I was working with. And that set the size of this cookie cutter. And then I had to go from there and work backwards to set the size of the other cutters. So some weren't really big and some were really small. I hope that makes sense. So that was what that was all about. And that's why sometimes your cutters are larger. For instance, you know, the great big cookie that's going to be in the limited edition Christmas box, that cutter had to be that size because of something, a specific fondant mold that we're using with it. So I started with the size of the fancy fondant mold, and I'm so excited because that's the box that's going to have sugar prism colors in it. I really can't wait for you guys to start working with Sugar Prism. Some of you have started working in Michelle's group already, so I'm happy to see that because you'll be a little further ahead when we start our projects. So I think that's fabulous. Now, also when you do a project like this, guys, plan for your area. Maybe you don't have maple trees. Maybe you have pretty much just all oak trees. So you won't want the maple leaf. You'll want to order the little oak, you see how I'm having to switch around, like if it busts through the paper because I got it a little too damp, then I have to use something thicker to make the leaf turn up off the cookie. So just plan for that too. I am going to go ahead and do all these though, because I really want you to see what this cookie is supposed to look like. You know, sometimes I finish it the next day, but frankly, after the stress of that silly spider, I need a little I need a little moment here to just decorate. So you guys get to hang out with me. Isn't that cool? Just kidding. Just kidding. You can see how I'm anchoring all these. Can you see what it's starting to look like? Isn't that pretty? All right, so the other thing you can do, oh wait, we have to stop for a minute though. Let me put one more leaf on, then we have to stop because I got out of order on something, and you need to do this before you go any further because you won't be able to go back and do it later, okay? All right, so let's pull out a little bit of our Turkish black. That's what I went to reach for a minute ago. So Christmas boxes, Kelly, I can't tell you for sure about the Christmas boxes until after we get through this weekend because my husband found out that he's going to be able to take some vacation. So this year, I did tell him this morning, this year we're going to actually take vacation. I'm still going to stream while we're gone. I just won't be in my studio. But we're going to take a full week and the 2 weekends around Thanksgiving and a full week and the weekends around Christmas and visit family because we haven't seen many of them in several years. And especially since the pandemic started, everybody just kind of kept in their own state because they live in different states than us. So we are going to visit them, and that is going to change when I release boxes in the day of the classes. So everything's still okay. I just want to get you really specific dates. So I will be switching over tomorrow and filming a more concise video for the cookie-a-thon. To focus on the isomalt work separately from the rest of that cookie. That'll be the video you'll see live with me that day. And then the rest of the tutorial will be in the extended access. And then right after that, I'm going to jump on starting to release some extra info to you for the Halloween class. And as soon as the Halloween class is over Sunday night, then I will give you a calendar to get us through the end of the year. I just need to, we're waiting on some relatives to confirm that the visits are good and when we're going and coming and all that. So I have just the littlest bit of black, Turkish black on here, because even when you think you have a ton or you've wiped it all off your brush, there's still a ton on there. So what I want to do is just put a little bit of this into the crevices because I want just even a little more color on this tree. You could stop right here. You definitely don't have to do what I'm doing right here. I just really like how it makes the tree look. It just gives it that. We've done so much to make our tree have dimension. This one little step just really adds to it. So I'm just working that down into, you could do this with the detail brush too, but I made such big crevices on here. I think you guys can see that I'm getting nice dimension. Whoops, I didn't mean to put that much on there. All right, let's see if we can work some of that back off. I just want it to have that old look. The old trees have that undertone. And I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of this on my rocks while I have it out. And then in a minute, we'll go back with the rocks and we're going to add some dogwood to lighten it up a little bit. So I'm just going to do a few areas with a little of this dark shadowing on my rocks. This is how we did the first cookie. So, but you see how different it looks when you do this on the gray versus doing it on the brown. Do you see what it does? Just one is shadowing. All right. So, and I'm also using my brush to knock off any loose pieces of this texture that we created earlier. All right. How's that, guys? Looking good? I think that's going to be it for the Turkish black. And thank goodness this is not what we knocked over earlier. I'd be cleaning this for days. All right. So we're going to leave that. All right, now I want to see, my pumpkin might be a little too big for this tree, so I'm going to trim that down just a little bit with a pair of scissors. I want my pumpkin on here, though, because it was really cute. I'm just going to see if I can make it a little bit smaller. Can you guys see that? Just make it a tiny bit smaller by taking off. I'm just following the lines of the mold. Okay, hold on. And you could use edible glue to attach this, but really it's so sticky. I think it's fine either way. But I'm going to put that down at the base of my tree. And you know what I'm going to do to make it puff up? That piece I just took off, I'll put a little bit of that on the cookie to make it. Yeah, we're going to add white on the water with poppy paint. We're going to add some white. Actually, what I'm going to try to do is use edible glue and diamond dust because I want it to be sparkly, but I was saving that for the end, so don't go anywhere. Don't leave me just yet. Let's put a little bit on here. I'm just putting a little bit of Honey's edible glue. You could use water and it would be fine too, but I was just using some glue. So I've rolled those extra pieces that I trimmed off to make it poofy, right there. You see? And then I'm just going to lay this pumpkin over it. And then I'm going to use my fondant tool and then tuck it over it. So I have a really three-dimensional pumpkin, right? It'd be fun. We've created all this dimension. We don't want to wreck it by not making our pumpkin dimensional as well. Now, if you feel like in doing this, you kind of smushed out the defining lines on your pumpkin, then let me show you how to fix that, because I definitely just did. If you have a toothpick, you can use the toothpick. If you have a scribe, you can use the scribe. I'm going to use this pointy end of your mini fondant tools, and I'm just going to put those lines back in it real quick, okay? Because it's still real soft. And then we already put diamond dust on this, so I'm going to leave it alone. You're basically just rocking this up the pumpkin. So your mold just created a sculpting starting place for you. And that's something you'll see. You can keep your molds really specific and do just exactly what's in the mold. But the more you play with this, you'll see that they're great jump off points, right? Like start it. That's the right amount of fondant to use. You get a real good idea for what it looks like, but it's really just a jumping off point. Okay, so let me lift this and show you what we've got here. And then I'm going to add a few more leaves. So see how we made that really dimensional pumpkin? See it? And then if we went back and added a little pumpkin dry dust or orange dry dust to that, we're going to get even more dimension. So let's just add a couple more leaves. The other thing I wanted to show you that's pretty cool is like falling leaves. So if you want to get down here near the pumpkin and attach, let me see if I'm in frame. Let's attach some leaves down here like they fell off, you know, like you get piles of leaves in your yard. I'm not fortunate enough that we get piles of leaves. They go everywhere, but you understand the thing that I'm discussing, right? You understand that I mean that they fall. So you get the pile down in your yard somewhere. So it just gives it even a little bit more to this pretty fall cookie. All right. So see how we have them all topsy-turvy now? So that's really fun. I like how that looks, and they're kind of broken. So that's fun. Let's put one more. I have one more red. Do I have two more? We're going to use, no, I have one more. So let's put one more right down here, and that'll be our last one. I'm going to lift that to show it to you. Right, so now you see why I had to stop and do that dry dusting that I forgot to do earlier, because if I did it now, it would get on all the bright colors, and we don't want that. So you see what we have down there? Now I have all of these leaves, so I will attach more leaves because I want it to be a really full fall tree when I photograph it. But let's go ahead. Let's move some of this stuff out of the way so that we don't get Turkish black all over everything. Let's move a little bit of this and this extra stuff out of the way. Thank God we're not hunting for the spiders still, making this a lot easier. All right. And I'm going to set this brush over here, especially when you use brushes with dark colors, you guys. Make sure that you wash these out thoroughly. You don't want to be in a jam, pick that up to use it, put it in a light color, and then all of a sudden you realize, whoops, I painted gold or silver or black with this. So I'm going to be going back and adding more leaves, but let me just move this so it doesn't wind up all over the cookie studio or on one of my little bright white puppies. That would create a whole nother situation. Hey, and look what came in. There was so much stuff that came in. This is going to be in one of the Christmas kits. I have to look at the costing list to see which one, but this is a retractable dusting brush that you use with cornstarch. You see it? It's nice and soft, so it won't break your cookie or mess up your your soft detail designs. And you put the lid on like this, and then it compacts. And it's pink and it's sparkly. So, and it has a little dust cover with it, but that's going to be in one of the Christmas kits that arrived while I was gone. So I was excited that that actually made it. There's a lot of stuff that may not make it though, you guys, because there's a lot of ships stuck off the port on the West Coast that they can't get the stuff in. And some of the things that I ordered for the Halloween box are still showing stuck out there that they've left where they were ordered from, but haven't made it to US Customs yet. All right, so let's see what else we have to do on this cookie. Dogwood. If I think I have that out. I want to do a little dogwood on this cookie if I have it handy. I don't think I put it up. I think I got it out. Oh, and you know the other thing I wanted to show you? This is new by the Sugar Art. It's called Black Pearl, and it's a shimmer. So we're going to try this on the cookie over top of where I put the Turkish black to see if it'll give it a little glint of color. All right, now I was fairly certain I left that dogwood out, though. Oh, and I also pulled some copper out. I wanted to show you sterling pearl copper because it's beautiful. It's very, very beautiful. All right, hold on. Let me just look back here real quick. Boy, when I jumped, I just sent stuff flying. Stuff is everywhere back here when I ran into my little table. So give me a sec. I'm going to pull the dogwood out because if you don't have this color, this is a color you should get if you like to do. Oh, you know what? I moved all those colors. It's probably right here. It's definitely a color that is great for doing fireplace pebbles, stone path pebbles, things like that. It's really nice. I wonder if that's one of the colors I took with me to. You know what? I bet it is. That's one of the colors I took with me to CookieCon, and I haven't unpacked all of that stuff yet. So I bet that's where it is. So you know what? We're going to use a substitute color. We're going to use something called Chai Tea from a different company. Similar in color, not exactly the same, but for the purposes of this, it'll get you through so you can see how you highlight with it. So let me knock this down a little. So it's a little darker, but it's close, okay? Yeah, they did run out of dogwood. I bought one. I think I bought a dogwood, a replacement one while I was there, but they did run out because I went back to get a few extra colors and there was some stuff missing. So we're going to do a little bit of this because we just want to put a different look on our rocks. You see how it kind of makes them dull? This is actually what the slate rocks look like around here. You get these nice highlight areas on them, and it just gives your cookie a little bit more dimension. This is great on the tree too, but I don't want to use it in both places because we don't want to run into the whole cookie looking the same, right? Have I answered everybody's questions? And if I missed anybody's questions, because the comments scrolled up pretty fast there for a minute, if I missed anyone's questions, did you guys answer their questions? Anybody got anything else for me over there that I missed? I don't want to miss anything. I feel discombobulated after the spider attack. Mind you guys, that thing was about 1/4 inch big, so I'm very much exaggerating that it was attacked, but seriously, it's a spider. I get bonus points for still sitting here. Oh. So I like this. It adds a little texture, roughness, highlight to my rocks. The other thing you can do, especially great because it's fall, you could come right back on here and put a little crushed up Oreo, the cookie, the dark part of the cookie, Oreo cookies, and make some dirt. You could put some dirt up around your tree. So you can really get crafty with this. Now let's switch over and do a little bit of this black pearl because I want you to see what it does. It's so pretty. Look at that. Just go buy all of it that they have and tell them Amy sent you from Cookie Snack Attack. I finally got to meet Holly in person, and oh my goodness, she's so cute and her laugh is so addictive. So this is black pearl. It's new. They have a really pretty silver, sterling pearl new silver. That's a new one from them. New silver is not new. Super silver is new, and it's very, very metallic looking. It's beautiful. And get some dogwood. You're going to need that, and get some red and green diamond dust for our Christmas cookies. So I'm going to put a little bit of this on here so you guys can see it, because I think anytime you have water, you can automatically do a little bit of sparkle. Look at that, you guys. You can automatically have sparkle because it would be like shimmer off the, oh my gosh, it's so pretty. It is so pretty. How great is this to have just in time for Halloween cookies? This would be great on Day of the Dead cookies. Oh my gosh, that's so nice. I love it. It wasn't in existence or hadn't been released yet at the time that I ordered for your Halloween boxes, or I would have put this in there for you. So as soon as I can, if you guys haven't bought it, I'll work it in. Okay, but look what we've created. You guys still okay? Because we're an hour and 20 minutes in. I'm sorry about all the spider drama. You under there? Hi, sweetie. Okay. So look at all the sparkle and the flat spots we created on our rock. Isn't that pretty? And then I will be going back and I'm going to really fill out my tree tonight. So you'll have that for your photo tomorrow. And then the other thing I want to do real quick is I want to add a little bit of white, but I need to find a brush that I can throw away because it's almost impossible to get stuff clean with the poppy paint. So let me find my white poppy paint and make sure it's mixed up good. And I want to add just a little bit to the tips. Well, first, I think what I want to do is I want to come back in here with some blue forget-me-not. I'm going to do a little bit of painting, okay? So we're going to do two things on our water because I think this will give it some nice highlights. So I'm going to just use this little spoon and I'm going to put a little bit of blue in my paint palette. It doesn't have to be a lot. I definitely don't need that much, but I'm not going to put it back in because these are the colors I actually use for people's orders. So I don't go back into the containers that I really use. And I'm going to put the tiniest bit of Everclear with this. And you know what? I think I took my pipette to Cookie Con too. So we're going to do this a little different. I'm going to pour into the lid and then pour into here. So did y'all miss me when I was gone? I feel like I tried to stay in touch and put up spontaneous videos and stuff like that, but I still felt like I was so overwhelmed with what was going on there. I still felt like I was, even though it was only 5 days, I still felt slightly disconnected, right? It's okay, Dale. It's totally okay. My husband sometimes is in the other room watching on YouTube. It's unnerving when I can hear myself live streaming on YouTube from the other room. Plus I'm in here streaming. It's so funny. I'm just like, I stopped talking. I realize how much I'm talking and then I just quit. All right. So see what I'm doing? Just a little bit. It's adding a little bit. Really, this is too much Everclear in here, but I just want thin, a little bit of thin. So I'm just going to put it in different areas of my waterfall here. And basically what I'm doing is going all the way to the bottom and picking up as much of the powder that's in there as I can, because I don't want to keep you another 4 minutes while I let all that Everclear dissipate. But this actually is working really nicely. It's allowing me to kind of just blot it in. So you see what we're doing? Now we've got a whole nother color of blue because we're putting this blue over the two marbled shades of blue in the fondant. And there are two gorgeous, if you're going to come to the cookie retreat next year, hold on, Seriously Sweet Cookie Snack Attack Cookie Retreat Unplugged. So someone asked me at CookieCon, what's that unplugged mean? I'm very serious. It's not camping. We're not going to be in tents. It's like cabins and rustic hotel rooms, and there's bathrooms and showers and all that in your room. It's not communal. You're not sharing any of that. But by the unplugged, there's very, very little Wi-Fi access. Hey, Melinda. Hey, Myra. There's very little Wi-Fi access. It's not going to be super fancy. I mean, I'm sure I can't do anything not fancy, so it'll be fancy. But it's not, it's not CookieCon or anything. It's just a retreat. I'm going to be the only teacher. I may have some friends help out with some stuff, but I'm not flying a bunch of people in. It's going to be real intense cooking. We're going to do a very specific set kind of geared to the area where we are. Then you're going to be able to do a competition cookie for your last cookie. And we're also trying to get it. I really like that. Do you see how much color I got from doing that? I really am trying to get us, look how nice my waterfall looks now. And now what we're going to do If you guys don't have this color, get it before springtime. You'll love it. This is Robin's Egg, and it's from AmeriColor. But let me show it to you with the lid off. It's got sparkles in it, so you can paint with it. So I'm going to pull a little bit of that out. And that's going to give me just the tiny, can you see the sparkles? I don't know if you can or not. I don't know if it'll focus, but it's sparkly paint. It's more, you can color your icing with it, but it doesn't make your icing necessarily sparkle. It's more like sparkly when you paint with it. So when it dries, so I'm just going to add a little bit of that in, and I'm just dabbing here and there. Then we're going to go back and white tip some of these pieces. But anyway, so the unplugged is that, the last time I stayed in the cabins and the hotel rooms that have the best views, you should think of this like a Zen retreat. Like you're really going to unplug and have quiet time, and you're just going to cookie, and you can take walks, nature trail walks if you want to. There's waterfalls you can hike to if you feel like it. There's horseback riding through the mountains if you want to do that. But think of it, your family's going to have a hard time getting a hold of you because there's only a few places you can get good cell service. There are landlines you can use if you guys remember what those are. There are landlines around, so you can call people and stuff like that. But no, I don't have any of that worked out yet, Myra, because I don't have the cost back from them on us being able to use the little convention hall. Because what I'm trying to do is get it to where we don't have to commit to certain hours for where we're going to do our cooking. Because let's say that we do a really intense cookie and we want to go back in there and we want to cookie more at night. Like we need to let it dry 4 hours. So we'll go have a hike or go to the waterfall or go to the lodge and have lunch or something like that. And yeah, bring your husbands. They can come. That's fine. We'll go do something like that and then we'll come back. Do you know what I'm saying? So we don't have to lock into only using it 2 hours or 4 hours a day. Now what did I just do with that? I just had a whole thing of white diamond dust. Hold on. The spider caused me to displace it. This is one of the big jars. I'm going to pull just the tiniest bit of this out so that I have it ready. I'm just using, remember that little spoon I had earlier? Just going to clean it off, pull a little bit of this out, just the tiniest bit. It's not a huge amount. I'm going to have it ready in my paint tray, right? Because I need to attach it right when I do this poppy paint. Now, the deal with poppy paint is if you're going to, it's very difficult to get off. So you really need to have a brush that you're prepared to throw away, or disposable brushes, whatever, because it's just very hard. You can get it out. It's just very hard. So, and it has to be mixed up really good. Okay. That's okay, because I should just tell you that I always bring my own stuff for the rooms when I stay up there. Although it's like a hotel, it's just an older hotel. So I guess I should stop saying it's super rustic. You can go to the super, super rustic cabins, but the area I picked out for us so that everybody has a view out the backside of their room of the Shenandoah Valley, that's right where the little the cabin area is that we would cookie, that has a kitchen and everything in it. Let's see, blue colors again. Okay, so for the first one I did where I wanted it to be real thin that I mixed with Everclear, that was Forget Me Not, and it can be any blue. I just picked a contrasting blue, lighter shade to get a highlight on top of where I'd made my ribbony water. And then the sparkly one I said get before Easter is Robin's Egg, because it's kind of got sparkles in it from AmeriColor. It's really pretty. And then poppy paint, you don't want to put this right in your paint tray. Now, we're not using very much of it, so I actually am just going to put this on something that I can throw out. All right, you know what? I know what I'm going to do. So for mine, so if I wanted to clean the brush, and you can, what I would do is I would have a thing of Everclear sitting here, and I would first dip it into the Everclear and clean it, and then dip it into the water. Because if you dip it into the water first, then it's going to seize up. You can't even paint with your brush anymore. And the other thing about poppy paint you have to be real careful of is you need it to be, really mixed up, or it's going to be too thin when you go to paint with it. All right, so let's put that back up. And I'm just going to use the tip of this brush. And so basically, guys, based on our rock pattern, it looks like our water comes to here, and then we have a drop. Okay, so right here is the first place we want to try to put any highlights. All right, because this is where it would hit the rock. So we're literally just, this is like you would do on a wave. We're just hitting the top, just the top part. We don't want to paint the whole thing white. We just want to give a little bit of like that look that water gets when it splashes up on just the tops of where it would be hitting on that layer. Let me show you. You see what I mean? And then we have another drop in the waterfall, right? So where that would hit, we're just going to go on the tops of those to make it look like it's splashing. We don't want to paint the whole thing, and a more roughed up brush is even better. And obviously all of this shows up even better in person, but do you see what I'm saying? We just want it to look like where it hit this little area here. Oops, let me pull some of that blue off. All right, let me grab a little of this. And then down here where it goes into the bed, where it's going to turn into the river area. I think last weekend might have been the prime weekend up on Skyline because there was so much traffic coming back towards the city when we were trying to get home from the airport. I was like, thank God that's on the other side of the road, because they were just sitting there for miles and miles. But the peak fall weekends up there are beautiful, but they're also super expensive compared to the pricing that we can get in May. All right, I'm gonna do this a little bit, okay? So I think that's it for our poppy. I feel like that's really nice. We've got our two falls. We've got a lot of nice shades of blue on there. So for me, what I'm going to do is just go back and finish up the leaves and make a nice full tree. So I think that's it. Unless you guys have any questions, I think that'll finish us up for tonight. And then hopefully it's going to be sunny tomorrow so I can get out there and get you some good photographs. That's what I'm counting on. Do you want to see the copper while you're on with me? I'm going to do the copper on my pumpkin if you guys want to see it. This is really pretty. This is by the Sugar Art. Let me just see if I can get some of this. Make sure I have all the color out of this brush. I'll just put a little bit of copper on in our pumpkin in the divots. Yeah, that's just perfect. That's perfect on there. Just to give it a little texture. A little more pop. Anybody do Timbo zombie class today? It was so fun. That thing's creepy, but the techniques are great. We're making Karen and Gretchen is the name of his cookies. But a lot of great techniques in there for doing eyeballs, monster eyeballs, really gnarly teeth. It was fun. So if you guys signed up for that, that was supposed to be yesterday and today, but then he realized Canadian Thanksgiving was yesterday. So if you're one of my Canadian friends on here, happy Thanksgiving. So he postponed it to do the 2-day tutorials. He had 2 of them planned to do them today and tomorrow. So, which was good for me because it gave me that day to rest after CookieCon. I love this. See how much, what that just did to the cookie though? Can you see that? All right. So let me lift this up and show you what's done so far. Okay. And then just know that I'm going to go back and add some more leaves. And remember, I told you that I picked out these owls. Remember when I picked up the owls is when the spider came to see me. So we never finished that discussion. So I have 5 sizes of owls. So what I'm probably going to do in a minute is try to make this little guy and pop him right here on top of the rock next to the tree to take up that area on my cookie, or I can put them over here just sitting on the rock, but they don't tend to land on the rocks. That's a different kind of deal. So, and then I've got these flat ones too. So I'm going to try this one and this one, but this one is much more depth in the mold. So we're going to see which one we like. All right. But any questions before I sign off for the night? And then tomorrow I've got to, Nadine, I am almost positive that it was at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and that it's scheduled for the same time tomorrow. Okay. I'm so glad you guys like this. Okay, cool. Oh, the diamond dust. Oh, thank you. Whoever put that on there. Let's come back with a little bit of that where the poppy paint is. I want to put some sparkle there. So let me see if I can get it on there. I'm just tapping it above where that white paint is. Oh, that's so pretty. Thank you for whoever reminded me, because another layer of white paint would have really been too much to get that natural water breaking look I was going for. So can you guys see this? Let me move it up. But it's perfect. All right, so the cookie retreat's going to be small. It's not meant to be something big. It's meant to do really intense cooking of any level. So if you come beginner, you're going to leave intermediate. If you come intermediate, you're going to leave advanced. If you come as an advanced cookier to this retreat, then you're going to have to kick it up another level while you're here. Okay? So everybody's going to learn something that improves them a little, but most of all, we're going to make good cookie friendships. Good cookie friendships with people that, oh, I like that so much, you guys. It looks exactly like the sun hitting the water on these waterfalls. Hopefully we're going to get to go up and hike on one of them in the next couple of weekends, but who knows? There's so much going on because the buildings are about to come for the Cookie Snack Attack building. I've got fencing going in. There's just all kinds of stuff happening. I love the glint on the water, though. You guys play with it and use as much as you want. I'm putting a little bit up, too, where the water supposedly starts because I think it looks pretty. But let me lift that up for you so you can see. So isn't that nice? So you could do this in the summer, too. You could totally do this in the summer with let me put all my stuff I have to wash over here. You could do it in the summer with oceans, beach cookies, any of that kind of stuff, okay? All right, I'm going to sign off. It was so great to meet all of you. I missed everybody that couldn't come. I hope a lot of you are going to be able to come to Reno. I'll start posting some information about what we'd like to do for the group once we get there this time, now that I have a better idea, because this was my first one. So I packed a lot into it. I'm probably going to space that out a little bit more. And just so you know, I applied to teach. I don't know if I'll get to teach, but I applied to teach again. So if I am, hopefully you guys will be able to get in those classes as well. So anyway, all right, I will catch up with all of you later. Tomorrow I have to refilm a short video to make it more concise for Cookie-a-thon. And then I start with Halloween things for you. So as soon as you see the Halloween things start going up into the group, and also if someone's on here, if you could drop the link in, you have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday until noon to purchase the Halloween class. It's on my website, seriouslysweetcupcakes.com. But the tickets will stop being sold for that on Saturday at noon because the class is Sunday night. You will be able to access replays if you've already paid for the class. If you don't get signed up in time, you will be able to still purchase the class afternoon on Saturday, but not until the class is over and the replay is posted. So the ticket sales will stop at noon. We'll get everybody into the group. I'll confirm everyone's in there so there's no last minute problems when we go to Zoom on Sunday afternoon or evening. I guess it's at 4 Eastern time. And then after the class is over, I'll put that video up into the group, and then the next day I'll put the class back up for sale. And please don't forget, because I can't alter it after the fact, if you purchased and participated in the mermaid class, then you have a coupon code in the mermaid group. So, and you don't need the box. You did not need to buy the Halloween box to do the Halloween class. Okay. So I will catch up with you guys later. Thank you, Sally, for dropping that in there for me. That'll take you straight to the class. Thank you. Thank you for staying with me through the spider drama, and I'll catch up with all of you later. Be sweet.